new report, we've been told that the Macbook Air 2022 model will be released at WWDC this year. Today I want to cover over the potential if this is going to really happen and who the leak is from. I will also be giving you all the latest details for the new Macbook Air M2 with giving you everything on the specs and the latest on the Macbook Air 2022 release date and price. But let's get started with what we have with the current Macbook Air. Well, it's been over a year since we had an update to the Macbook Air. The biggest change we saw in that last model was the new Apple Silicon M1 chipset put inside and also the cooling fan being removed from the model. But this year, in 2022, some big changes are expected even further than what we got with the M1 MacBook Air. So moving on, we've just had a report from Mark Gurman who has basically said that if Apple talk about the M2 chipset at WWDC, then the new M2 MacBook Air will be released with it. Now, from my point of view, I personally don't think this is going to be happening, and I'd love to be surprised that if it does come out, I would love to get my hands on it this summer, but I just don't think it's going to happen. One thing to be aware of right now is there's been some manufacturing problems, mainly to do with COVID in China, and this has slowed down productions a lot on new Apple products. I'm talking about new Apple products that have come out in the last year. It's believed that Apple won't want to release a new product with a good stockpile before releasing it. So for example, like with the latest MacBook Pros that came out last sort of October, November time, any kind of slight customizations on it will push back your order of a MacBook Pro all the way to August time. And I've just done this here, as you can see, just by adjusting the RAM, and it pushes it right out. The same with the Mac Studio that got announced back in March time. Just adjusting the storage from 1TB to 2TB pushes it out by 12 weeks to September, what is ages away. Probably the new iPhone 14 will be out around about that time. So to be honest, I don't think it'd be a good move, and to be honest, I think it'd be a very odd move to Apple to release the MacBook Air and then to run out of stock almost instantly, and then we'd have to wait loads and loads of weeks or even months to get our hands on one. Don't get me wrong, like I said, if Apple did announce a brand new MacBook Air at WWDC, I'll try my hands to get on one as soon as possible, like many of you guys, but I just don't believe this is what Apple are going to do. But we've also got to remember one thing, and that is what WWDC stands for. WWDC stands for the Worldwide Developers Conference. This mainly means there is a focus on software for developers with the current Apple hardware that is available and supported right now. Right now, many developers create apps for the iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, HomeKit, and of course, macOS. Generally speaking, in the last 15 years plus, Apple have not really announced any new MacBooks at WWDC. In fact, they haven't really announced any new Macs at WWDC except for one category, what is the Desktop Pro range. So I'm talking about the Tower Mac Pro with the 3 different versions that have come out since 2006 all the way to 2019. And also we did one year get that iMac Pro that was going to be the replacement of the Mac Pro, and that came out in 2017. Apart from this, there are no other Macs that have been announced at WWDC. With this in mind, it is likely that in 2022 this isn't going to change again, and for this it's very unlikely we're going to see the new M2 MacBook Air revealed at WWDC. However, you're probably wondering, when will we get our hands on the MacBook Air? And I will tell you this in just a moment. But, like a few of my other videos, just a quick note here. With any of these leaks, even up to the new MacBook Air's release date that I find and show you guys, a lot of previous leaks for other Apple products have come true, but there are sometimes some that get misinterpreted based on the facts that leakers have been told. I can only present to you what I have been told and shown. No leak or rumour is 100% true until we see the final MacBook Air being officially shown from Apple. However, if you are like me and if you are watching this video, then you are as curious as I am in knowing what the next generation MacBook Air is going to be like and want to know what the latest leaks and rumours are, no matter what they tell us. So, release date. As we've now had the March event called Peak Performance, what focused mainly on the Mac Studio, on the Mac side of things, obviously we did have the iPhone SE and the new iPad Air, this means the next event is WWDC. But at this event, we're expecting to see the new Mac Pro, and maybe talks about the M2 generation, what will be put into Macs throughout the next 2 years. With that, it's expected the MacBook Air will probably be one of the first devices to actually get one of the M2 chipsets inside it, and it's most likely it will be coming out for this year in October or November time, as by this point the M1 MacBook Air will be approaching 2 years old and could do with a wanted upgrade. As already mentioned before, Min-Chi Kuo agrees with this and has said that the MacBook Air is coming later on in 2022, and generally for the last few years we've had a Mac event always around the time just after the iPhone launch, so this tends to be in October and November time. For the official date of an event or when the MacBook Air will officially be in our hands is a little too early to say at this point, but everything is pointing towards between mid-October to mid-November time this year. And of course, the second we know when the actual Apple event is, it's most likely we will know the time of when we'll be able to get the MacBook Air in our hands, so make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell to get further updates on the MacBook Air.